Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Quentin Tarantino's The Hateful Eight. And this movie stars Samuel L. Jackson, Kurt Russell, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and a whole bunch of other people. And the story here is pretty simple. You have characters who are trying to cash in on their bounties, and they get caught up in a blizzard, and they have to stay in a cabin for a few days. And that's basically what the movie is. And there's other things going on revolving the plot. That's not revealed until much later into the movie, but I can't get into those right now because that would get into spoilers. And also, before I get into what I liked about this movie, I will be discussing the extended edition that is on Netflix because I saw that a couple months ago, and it's still, I remember it pretty well. There are a few things that stood out to me as being different, and I will discuss it. But for now, I'm just going to talk about the theatrical cut. Now, before I give you my thoughts on this movie, I should mention that this movie is the first Quentin Tarantino movie that I saw. It's the movie that got me into him, and started watching his movies in any particular order. Sometime after I watched this movie, because I thought it was great and I fell in love with it. So what does Hateful Eight do that makes it stand out from Tarantino's other works that he did before? Well, one thing that I think makes this movie stand out is the characters. I feel as though each character is distinct, and their personality or their character, really stands out to me. And I think it has great casting decisions. Samuel L. Jackson is perfect in this role. I think it's probably his best performance since Pulp Fiction. As far as the acting goes in this movie, I don't have an issue with anyone in this movie. And I also watched the special features that were on the DVD. There's only like 2 that are on the DVD. One thing that I found interesting is that Tarantino shot this movie on 70mm, and he wanted to kind of revive movies that had that intermission in between and kind of pay homage to movies from that era and to kind of offer a similar experience. But in order to get that experience, you have to watch this movie in a theater. And I didn't see this movie in a theater, unfortunately. And also, another thing that kind of hurt what Tarantino was trying to do with this movie's experience is that Disney kind of interfered with that because of The Force Awakens coming out the same year and around the same time. And Force Awakens was like the most anticipated movie of the year. But going back to The Hateful Eight, the reason why it didn't play in a lot of theaters that were equipped to do 70mm is because Disney was forcing theaters to play Force Awakens instead of Hateful Eight. And the reason why theaters decided to switch from Hateful Eight to Force Awakens was, I believe, because it's Force Awakens was such a big movie. It grossed over $2 billion. And the second reason is because Disney was kind of threatening them, I believe, that if they didn't play Force Awakens over a Hateful Eight, then they would not be allowed to play a Disney movie ever again in their theaters. But moving on, I think The Hateful Eight has a lot to offer that some other Tarantino movies don't offer for me, and that is the score for this movie is amazing. I really love the score for the movie. I can hear it right now. I can just like hum every theme in my head. Every time that they were used, it was used appropriately, and it was always fitting within the scene. And there are like song choices that are thrown into the movie that I think complement the tone of the scene, and they help the movie even more. So that's a major plus for my experience watching the movie. One thing you should prepare yourself is the 2 hour and 45-minute runtime. It's almost 3 hours long, and the extended cut is even longer. I forgot how long the extended cut is. It's over 3 hours long, but this version is almost 3 hours. So if you're going to watch this movie, be prepared for that. Also, this movie is not a fast-paced movie. It's going to take its time, and you're really going to have to be patient with it, but I was never bored watching this movie. And I love the dialogue that the characters are given in this movie. I think it's really well written. And when characters are talking about their past in this movie, how it's presented is it's just showing them talking. And they talk about what they did. And you have other characters reacting to what the character before was talking about. And I think that works to the film's benefit because it's very clearly not trying to just throw flashbacks into the movie. For example, in Inglourious Bastards, there's a scene that was kind of poorly edited to me. Kind of when, I can't say the exact moment. It was trying to do it for laughs at points and it didn't work for me. Here, I think it works much better in The Hateful Eight because it felt as though there was a purpose towards it. Now, moving along with the slower pace of the movie, not a lot happens throughout this movie. Although not a lot happens in this movie, it is building up to something, to the final act of the movie. And once you get to that point, it's really, really great. And it's a very, very satisfying ending for me. And there are the moments that I feel are satisfying are really great. So like I had the biggest smile on my face while watching some of these scenes because I was having such a great time. And there's lots of great jokes in this movie. My one issue with this movie would be the narration. Not that it exists in the movie at all. I feel as though it was used appropriately for the most part. And when it was used, fine. It was used to progress the story faster. Because if you didn't have that narration, then this movie would be 3.5 hours long, at least. The part of it that doesn't work for me is when it's explaining a character, what's going on inside a character's head, as in what's going to happen next. And I feel as though if that part of the narration was removed, I think the movie would be better. Even though it is a great scene and I love it, I feel as though it would have been a tiny bit better if the narration was pulled back a little bit. And I can't say what that narration said because that would spoil the movie. But that's all my only issue with the movie. Just a little less narration. In the end, I think The Hateful Eight is one of Tarantino's best movies. I know a lot of people don't really like it that much. I think it's one of his best movies. And honestly, I can't think of one whole scene that I didn't like. And even though it has a little bit that I don't like in it, that's not enough for me to take off points for it. And the ending for this movie was very satisfying. And I'm going to give The Hateful Eight a 10 out of 10. And one thing that I wanted to show off is that it's the DVD. It's in a slipcover. And I just wanted to show you this. Whoops. You can open it up. And you get this. Which is kind of cool. I've had this thing since it came out on DVD. And I think now I should talk about the extended edition. I would give that version an 8 out of 10. I like it. I think it's worth watching at least once. However, the scenes that they added in the extended edition, they don't need to be in the movie. And I feel as though those scenes that they added in ruined the pacing of the movie. So those are my thoughts on The Hateful Eight. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you thought of The Hateful Eight down below. And my social media links, those will all be in the description down below, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation. And I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that's going to be for Escape from New York. I saw it once, I thought it was decent, but I think I should probably watch it again and review it for you guys. But until I get that up, thank you for watching, and have a great day.